do what works for you. Y'all, do what works for you in the natural hair community. On the surface, it sounds like it's something that's completely fine, but when you really look into it and how it's being used, do what works for you tends to usually be very dismissive. People are using it to dismiss whatever it is that the other person has just said, and they're like, oh, well, everybody need to do what works for them anyway. So basically saying, I don't care what you just said, I'm not going to take it into consideration, and I'm going to just blow you off by saying do what works for you. And the funny thing is, and I've heard people say this before, a lot of people have a hard time determining what works for them. So in this video, I'm going to talk about ways to see if what you're doing is working for you, ways to evaluate your regimen that you're doing or evaluate the results that you're getting to see if what you are doing works for you. Hello everyone, Kayla here, and this is What the Kink, a natural hair channel where I help frustrated naturals simplify their routine so they can do less and get more results. Let me tell you the couple of things that you can do to make sure that whatever you're doing is working for you. The first thing we're going to do is we're not going to throw away our shed hair. We're going to use our shed hair to assess the condition of our hair. Shed hair is very valuable. I can't say that I do it every single time, but if I'm in the shower at different steps of my regimen, I will sometimes do the things I'm about to tell you with my shed hair just to see how things are going. And then I always, like when I'm just like, when my hair's dry and styled, I always mess with the shed hair then because it's usually just one piece, so it has my full attention, right? So anyway, the first thing that I recommend that you do with your shed hair is assess the length of the hair. If it is like as close to your actual full length of your hair as possible, it's more likely that that is a shed hair. And shedding is, of course, as I've said in previous videos, a part of the hair's natural growth cycle. If you're getting a ton of really short broken hairs, like if you, and all the shed hair that you collected that wash day, most of them are short and broken, like it's not your true length. You got armpit length hair and it's ear length broken pieces everywhere, then that means that you are experiencing breakage and something you're doing is causing breakage, or the condition of your hair is causing it to be easily broken. Speaking of being easily broken, this is the second thing that I like to do with my shed hair, and that is to test the tensile strength of my shed hair. Now, of course, obviously one piece of hair against my hands, it's going to break. Let's be real. It's going to 100% break. But what I do is I kind of like tug just a little bit and see if the hair has a little give and then it comes back. If it does, then I know that my hair is in pretty decent condition. We've got a good balance between the protein and the moisture and all that, the strength and it being moisturized. However, if you give it a little tug and it just breaks, your hair may be very dry, or you may be using too many protein products, more than what your hair actually needs. Something is causing your hair to break, and that is a concern. And then the third thing I like to do with my shed hair is I like to look at like if there's any like damage to the individual hairs. So looking to see if there are splits on the hairs. Split hair is going to happen. You are bound to get a couple of splits here and there. We don't. People are seeking this perfection of hair. You really can't have perfect hair. It just doesn't work like that. But if you are getting splits on almost all of the hairs that you're taking out, something's causing you to have split ends, and we need to assess that. Something's going on. Also, if you have a lot of knots, excessively an amount of knots on your hair, if you are noticing that the cuticle layers of your hair, like your hair kind of thins on a single piece of hair and it's thinning, that is an issue as well. So if your actual hair strands are not smooth and there's a lot of stuff going on with them, then you may need to maybe go to a professional or consider getting a haircut because something is going on with your hair. Because most of the stuff, when you have damage like that on the actual individual hair strands, I mean, like you could moisturize your hair or deep condition your hair or something for the other cuticle things that I've mentioned, but if you really have like your hair is like really split up, nothing's really gonna fix that other than a haircut, and hopefully you'll be able to catch those situations before it gets to the point that your hair is split up to the point where you need a haircut. Another place to look is your length retention in general. Now, I will note here that some people have a slower growth rate. It's just due to genetics, so I wouldn't really put much stock in the rate at which it's growing or how fast you're reaching your goals unless you know exactly how much your hair grows per month. Some people dye their hair and they can, you know, see from the roots exactly how much hair that they grow. I totally understand that. But if you don't really know your growth rate, I wouldn't really look at that. But I would look at, is your hair reaching new lengths? Is your hair staying the same length for a really long time? So 6 months have passed and your hair is staying the same length. And also, something that happened to me before, way in the past, is your hair actually getting shorter. I actually had a situation where my hair was getting shorter, and that let me know that I needed to cut off a decent amount of my hair. I have actually cut my own hair a couple of times. There was one time where I cut about 2 inches off of my own hair, and then there was another time in a video called Bye Bye Hair that is still visible on this channel, in which I cut way more than 2 inches off of my hair, a whole lot of hair. And that's when I began to adopt the hair care practices that I talk about on this channel. And I have not had to do any major cut like that since. I did recently get, well, not recently, but a couple months ago, I did get a haircut because I switched hair salons and I wanted the shape of my hair to be a little bit different. And so I did lose some length for that, but it wasn't a loss of length because of the health of my hair. And that is really important to me. So hopefully these things can help someone actually see if they are doing what works for them. I'm going to let YouTube recommend some videos over here. Subscribe. I post videos every week. And in fact, become a member. I have a couple of perks for members. Those are listed with information below if you're interested in what do you get if you become a member of the What the Kink channel. And I'll talk to you in the next one.